All the information or footage taken in this video is credited to the March to End Rape Culture or other websites. The social justice issue and volunteer work I decided to focus on for my third project is rape culture. In order to fill the volunteer requirement, I went to the March to End Rape Culture in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was there that I really learned what rape culture is and how it affects our society. A term coined by feminists in the 1970s, rape culture is a society or environment whose prevailing social attitudes have the effect of normalizing and trivializing sexual assault and abuse.
Rape culture is a physical, sexual, emotional, and spiritual assaults on the humans who harbor shame and confusion about pleasure and pain, about consent and obligation, about restraining rage and reclaiming space, collecting strangers in mass.
Rape culture is when a bar names a drink date grape Kool-Aid and then mocks rape survivors for objecting.
Rape culture tells us substance use, not behaviors and attitudes, cause violence, not objectification and entitlement, but a body not being satiated. Rape culture is my mom giving him permission to have sex with me so he won't leave her, is not knowing I could say no because what would the family say?
Rape culture is when it takes them a year to tell you there wasn't enough evidence and they're pulling the case and your restraining order.
Rape culture feels gross, nauseating to some, like sludge on your face, clogging your pores, making it difficult to breathe. It's wanna fuck in a response to a hello on the street. It's being harassed or ignored by your superiors or the upper brass if you decline their advances. It's he takes care of me so I can't leave, but I can't bleed without feeling guilty.
Rape culture is when we make a million lists of prevention tips for women, but fail to teach men not to rape.
Rape culture married white supremacy, and their dominating brainchild made silence our family motto. Too afraid to talk about the violence because more jailed males in this family is not an option. Rape culture married transphobia, so now already proud queer folk deal with 2 times the stigma and fear, having to justify how they feel, what they wear, whether or not I'll get harassed in the bathroom by manifestations of trans misogynistic turf realizations. Rape culture affects us all.
Rape culture is when your rapist gets on national TV and blames you for not coming forward sooner, and millions of rape culture robots nod their heads in agreement. Hashtag Roy Moore child molester.
It's no different than any other oppressive system or ism, and brazenly beats power and autonomy out of sex worker collectives, drains movements and attempts at safety from male-dominated capitalist constructs, rewarding rapists and normalizing victim blaming.
Rape culture is when survivors are asked, "How high was your skirt?" and told, "But you were kissing him before, so nothing could have happened." So let's talk about it. Let's talk about rape culture and how it started. Speaking to a group of college students in Toronto, a police officer offered some advice for safety, saying the best way to avoid being raped was for women to avoid dressing like sluts. His words were not unfamiliar, as victims of sexual violence are blamed all over the world for what happened to them. This incident inspired the first Slut Walk, held in Toronto in April of 2011. The movement spread across cities and countries, including the first Philadelphia Slut Walk in August of 2011. Since that time, our group has evolved to continue the fight against rape culture while also striving to become more collaborative and inclusive. We changed the event name to the March to End Rape Culture in 2013 and have continued with that name to the present date. Every 107 seconds, a person in the United States is sexually assaulted. 44% of victims are under 18 and 80% are under 30 years old, while 2/3 of perpetrators are known to the victim. 68% of sexual assaults are not reported to the police, and 98% of rapists will never spend a day in jail. We as a society subscribe to beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors that influence how we think about and respond to rape. When these ideas excuse and tolerate sexual violence, this is rape culture. These toxic ideas not only ignore and excuse these abuses, but often condone and encourage them, while survivors get less support and less justice. We march to help raise awareness in the community about this problem and what we can do to end it. It is also a healing place where survivors can be supported, speak up, and find information about local resources, and allies can join in to learn more and support survivors in ending rape culture. The march to end rape culture taught me how to be strong and how to lean on other women and other people for support, and that speaking up is okay. I also learned that not everyone agrees. There's authors like Caroline Kittens who says it's time to end the rape culture hysteria, and they believe that it's a feminist way of taking control and to portray men as ruthless animals. By interacting with people and learning more about the topic, I learned how so many rapists are not sentenced to jail or given smaller sentences. Many people make arguments about the 1 in 5 statistics, saying that that's so off, and that, it's women's way of exaggerating and making men look villainous. But when you take a step back and you look at it and you look at the emotional aspect and think about how this really affects women on a daily basis, women are afraid to walk in the street. They're afraid to get pulled over. They're afraid to go to work many times. And all because of men who do not understand the pain that this has brought to us. And this is why we march.
You know why? You know why you don't get promoted at Walmart? You know why you don't get promoted? It's because you're not. Oh, you own your business? Well, if you're a real commie, why don't you buy some long skirts for these horsemen?